Welcome back. We're live at SUP-X, the Startup Expo, with Stephen Garber. He's the founder and CEO of Third Level. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Really glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show, but maybe before we dive into Third Level, let's get to know you a little bit better and
Sure.
give us a bit of background, kind of where you grew up, where you went to school, and how you got to Third Level.
Okay, so I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, originally actually Belmont,
Very cool.
which was right next to Cambridge. So I
Sure.
grew up in that kind of community, a bus ride away.
Nice.
Wonderful place to grow up.
Yeah, Boston's beautiful.
Yeah, Boston's a great place. And it was back at a time when it was a lot safer to grow up, if you will. We actually used to ride our bikes everywhere. And then I went to school both at Vassar. I was in the class of men at Vassar.
Nice.
And then transferred back to Tufts. And at Tufts, I started to really develop this idea that the best way to run a business was to listen to the people who actually are in that business.
Smart.
So I had a job at a hotel company, and they changed everything without asking the staff what they thought of those changes.
Wow.
And it was a complete mess.
Sure.
So I wrote my thesis about the how you do change in an organization and it actually used to be called worker control. And that was not a good thing to say to people.
Yeah, that's a weird title.
Right. That was what the title, that was what the genre was called. It's now called empowerment. But it's the same idea that the people who actually serve your customers or who do the blocking and tackling of your business,
Sure.
those are the people that you should really at least listen to understand what is going on and what an effective a change will be.
Sure.
So that led me to, believe it or not, I went over to Amsterdam and I lived and worked in Amsterdam for 7 years.
Nice.
Ended up with my own businesses and became a boss.
Okay.
So I learned about the other side of it is like managing people.
Right.
In fact, if they don't like you in Amsterdam, they wish you lots of personnel. That's the biggest curse they can give you. Came back to the U.S. and then got into personal growth.
Okay.
Took a year off. Got into my personal growth. I had great success, great failure, great success, great failure. Wanted to know why.
Okay.
So I took a sabbatical year, went on my own journey, and ended up deciding that was the work I really wanted to do, which is personal growth, helping people realize their potential. And then people would say, could you do this for my business? And I got to marry my two passions, developing people and doing better business. Got real lucky over in London, long story, that my first big break was a water utility there.
Okay,
and we did, a very unusual set of circumstances, and became the coach to the CEO and the executive team. And they had a goal to transform the company from the worst in the UK to the best in the UK in 3 years.
Wow.
And we did it in 18 months.
Very cool.
And they did the strategy and the operations. I did the people and the culture. And we've been best friends ever since. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, but I'm godfather to his two daughters, and it was the biggest gift ever because I created my career.
Sure.
So that's a little bit about me. I'm married very happily. My daughter just gave me my first granddaughter.
Very
first
cool.
grandchild.
Congrats. That's fun.
Thank you. It's totally. They say grandchildren. Yeah. Oh my God, how wonderful! So
that's great.
It was wonderful.
So I want to dive into Third Level. What exactly do you guys do? You kind of quickly covered it, but let's dive a little bit deeper into that.
So what we are is an organization that supports positive transformation for teams and companies.
Okay.
So what we do is coach, facilitate, and consult to companies on what's your vision, where do you want to be, what's the culture that you're working with, and what's your part in that culture. So it's really about making a difference to the business, making a difference to the organization, which we believe is team oriented. How do we work together? And that comes from individuals being self-aware, owning their part in what's working and what isn't, and taking responsibility, whatever part that change is. It might be 1% you and 99% others, or 50-50, or the other way around. It doesn't matter. It's if you come at it from the point of view of, I have a part in this, then you can make that change. If they have a part in it or you have a part in it, then you're not taking that responsibility. So we do coaching, we do offshore, offsites, we do regular meetings with teams. But our thought is that in today's world, the more digital the world is, actually, the more relationships matter.
Like in-person relationships, or just like because obviously if people are in a different city or country, how do you make sure they have a good relationship?
It's a great question. So I do actually believe that if a team is really working together as a team, they they're best served to invest in occasionally actually
In
physically
person,
getting
okay.
together. I don't think anything changes that. So as an
Agreed.
example, a coaching relationship, I'll say just meet once so that we have this. Then phone, Skype, whatever
Yeah,
you want to use works. We can do it without it, but it's deeper when you just have that sense of
sure.
connection. But that's obviously not the way of the world all the time. So, what we talk about is really spending the time in these interactions to learn a little bit more about what makes each other tick.
Okay.
That's really important. You can't just be transactional.
Right.
And so I would do a little research. I'd ask you to do a little research. We do what you've just done with me, tell the story a little bit, get to know what people like, don't like, where they come from, um, some of their strengths and weaknesses.
Sure.
And you need to be able to do that because when the going gets tough, and it will always get tough
Yeah.
at some point, you
Sure.
need to draw on that relationship bank.
Right.
That sense of connection, trust, vulnerability that really makes a great relationship.
Sure. So you guys talk about emotional intelligence. What does that mean to you guys? And why do you think it's so important?
Well, um, sort of just what I just said
Yeah.
is a big part of it. So what we would say to people is that there are three parts in today's world. There are three parts of a relationship or success in this digital world. There's TQ. You have to have technology.
Yeah.
You have to have it. I am not the guy to help you with that. And IQ, you need smart people.
Sure.
So everybody likes to believe they have the TQ and the IQ, or they're going to develop the TQ as part of
Sure.
the mission. But what really makes companies work better is when there's relationships. And EQ is our ability to understand ourselves and others and manage ourselves and others more effectively in the workplace.
Okay.
Or manage, more than manage others, manage relationship.
Sure.
So I don't want to manage you, but I want to manage our relationship effectively.
Interesting.
So that to me is what emotional intelligence is.
That is a unique kind of take on that, right? Like I think a lot of probably your competitors don't focus on that kind of stuff, at least in my experience.
So thank you. I'd like to think it's a unique proposition. There are many people out there working with emotional intelligence. Where we think third level has a unique proposition is on the one hand the understanding of the business.
Yeah.
So we really focus in. We want to know what your business needs to do, and then team, and then individual,
Okay.
and all with that emotional intelligence aspect.
Interesting.
More and more in the digital world, you hear design with empathy.
Right.
Okay, empathize for your client. What are they going through? That is emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Understanding what they are experiencing when they are either needing or using your tech.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and equally, it's the same. When I got my first, one of my largest clients said, how do we bring EQ to the development of it's a very large bank, to our customers' experience
Sure.
of using our tech? And I tried to come up with a really sexy, smart answer.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, the answer was by having really emotionally intelligent people design that tech.
Okay.
By working well together, having them sense the experience when they test it, when they learn, when they fail, when they try again,
Sure.
to pay attention to the EQ of when you do your case studies or your focus groups.
Interesting. So, give us some examples of different verticals you guys work in, or do you kind of, it doesn't really matter, or how does that kind of work?
You're asking really good questions. So on the one hand, I would tell you it doesn't really matter
Okay.
because it's people and it's people
Okay.
working together. It matters from the point of view of we're going to be much more effective if we know your business.
Sure.
So in that sense, we either will learn your business, and look, I don't know anything about banking
Okay.
really,
Sure.
but I do understand because financial services is one of our absolute verticals.
Right.
We understand what's going on in the financial world now, in fintech, in banks, what's changing. You know, the Capital One ad that we all see blowing up the bank, and it's something different. Happened to work with the gentleman who designed that program.
Oh, interesting.
And he tells a great story about teaching bankers how to be baristas. You know,
Interesting.
that type of thing. So financial services and utilities
Okay.
are where we have a great deal of experience, and consulting, companies that do consulting, because the consultants need to work together well.
Sure.
They need to work well with their clients.
No, that makes sense. So, do you find though, even in the different verticals that you guys play in, the problems are similar or different, or does it really depend?
So there's both. There's similarity and difference. The similarity is it's all about people working well together.
Right.
It's all about listening to each other. It's all about solving problems. It's about parking the hidden agendas at the door, getting the real issues on the table and resolving them, not parking them or kicking them down the road. Great companies will do that.
But how do you get people to open up? Because that's got to be challenging. It's like, well, this guy's a stranger. The first day they meet you, you come in, and you're basically telling them, okay, you need to honestly tell me the problems here, or at least what you see, and then you hear it from kind of a bunch of different sides, and then you kind of piece it all together? Or how does that work?
That's
but how do you build that trust almost immediately?
You're asking really good questions. So one of the things we do is we use this kind of fun, fast profile assessment. It takes 4 minutes. 28 questions. Instant. You're done. You hit go. You get your profile. Just the discussion of the profile, right or wrong, gets us into discussing how you see the world, how the world sees you, what your behaviors are. That's one. Two is my team and I have been doing this for a very long time. So we can see where people are comfortable going, not comfortable going.
Right.
Reframe things that are being said that'll deepen the conversation and end up having a better sense of it. Now, do we become fast friends with complete vulnerability immediately? No, it's a process, which is why we'll say it takes some time to do it.
Right.
We have fun.
Sure.
People learn more when it's fun.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's more memorable, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And generally speaking, you know, I don't know if you had one, but I had a couple of people as a child in my childhood that were sort of like the benevolent uncle that you could go talk to. That was, you know, you would open up a little. You might complain about mom and dad a little bit. You might share that, and you sort of knew that it was going to get back to them, but it still felt better to talk to them about it.
Sure.
So sometimes that's kind of the role we play.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, there is confidentiality, absolutely.
Sure.
Until there's a theme. We also do a survey. So the first is sort of a profile. The second one's a survey, which is based on Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team, where these things emerge data-wise. And we can see what kind of things are being well done in terms of high-performing team and what aren't.
Okay. And then how do you bridge the gap between the different generations? Because obviously different things motivate different, types of people and in their different generations.
So you're absolutely right. Diversity is a very big part of what we need to be sensitive to.
Sure.
So that diversity is generational, it's obviously
cultural,
gender, it's cultural, it's educational. There's so many different parts. So we try not to put people into particular baskets, but have them be how they show up, how they choose to present.
Interesting. Yeah, because I guess in every generation there's like people that are completely motivated and totally unmotivated, and that's been since the beginning of time, right? Yeah.
Now, having said that, there is no question that the younger generation, whether we call it Gen X, Gen Y, or millennials, they need a sense of purpose.
Sure.
And they need a sense of ability to learn and grow that they will develop.
Right.
Well, the truth is, those are 2 tools we celebrate no matter how old you are, no matter what business you're in. Why? Everybody's motivated by why. Do you have children?
Yeah, I have two.
Okay, how old are they?
4 and 2.
Perfect. So what's the 2-year-old ask all the time? What's the question the 2-year-old asks you all the time?
There's a bunch of them. Off the top of my head, I don't know. What are you thinking?
Why?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Why?
Well, they both asked that.
Okay.
But
Why? So I remember being a sort of an older friend to a 2-year-old next door, and he would drive me crazy with why all
yeah,
the
okay,
time.
yeah, constantly. Yeah.
But it's actually an innate human desire
Okay.
to understand. We
Interesting.
all have. So why do we do this? Why does that work that
Sure.
way? Why is it what we do? So when a company has a really clearly articulated why, and a team has a clearly articulated why, and the individual has a clearly articulated why, you end up with a tremendous sense of alignment and passion and togetherness. If they
Sure.
don't line up,
Yeah.
then that doesn't work. So
Okay.
I think every generation responds well to why, this sense of why.
Interesting.
And everybody wants to learn and grow.
Sure.
Now, work ethic, that's one of the things that is seen differently. There are a lot of young people here. They're not lazy.
Fair enough.
They're
Yeah.
not lazy. So we have to celebrate how they work, why they work, how they work, what they do, and do the best to line those up.
And then I would also assume that you need to tell the people that don't understand how others kind of work, like sorting that out and kind of saying, well, no, this person needs to be managed like this person needs to be managed like that,
Absolutely.
et cetera, right?
Yeah, we're all motivated by different things. So that's part of the profile.
Okay.
So for me, as an example, if you tell me that my job is to constantly put things in a structure and an order and give it, right down to the lowest detail.
Yeah.
I mean, don't ask me that. But if you ask me to do what I'm doing with you now, talk about what we do, connect with people, facilitate a room, I couldn't be happier. Now, some people, public speaking, and you talked
Sure.
about that for
Yeah.
yourself. Some people, the idea of really connecting with another person, I don't want that. But you tell them, look, I want you to give me a process that gets me from here to here, and outline the steps so it's repeatable and sustainable,
Right.
and then there are people. So I need people around me that love that.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Totally.
If you want someone who's going to think about, here's one that drives a lot of people crazy. Well, what could go wrong? Let's talk about what could go wrong. Let's talk about, have you thought about the impact this might have on that? Well, you're ruining the vibe, dude. I want to just,
Sure.
but they're incredibly valuable.
Sure. Yeah.
So to have somebody on the team that we all say, okay, tell us what could go wrong. Give us the risks that we're taking. We're all up there and all the great ideas and the connection and the passion. It'll save us a lot of time and money. So rather than that being a negative, how do we celebrate that? So we'll call those things up to consciousness,
Okay.
and to have them be celebrated rather than avoided.
No, that makes sense. And I think it just also brings certain things to the forefront, where I think that sometimes like people don't just think about certain things, right? Just that's not how their brain is. But then you need to mention it and they're like, oh, I never considered that, right?
Right.
No, that makes total sense.
And there are other people who like to, who prefer to participate, quote unquote, participate internally,
Yeah.
quietly,
Sure.
reviewing, thinking about it. Now that could be interpreted as disengaged, or something's wrong, or not real involved. Excuse me. But actually, it's just their way of working. So you have to learn to ask them. So what do you think? They'll almost always tell you.
Right.
They just won't volunteer.
Yeah, okay. So understanding who they are and then trying to say, oh, this person needs me to ask for their opinion instead of just like waiting for them to give it to you. I guess that's a really simple example.
Yeah.
But if you figure that out about
it's actually a
all
great
the
example.
people on your team, or at least your C-suite, then at least they understand, right? Oh, like to engage with that person, I need this, this, and this from them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said C-suite, which is actually our sweet spot in a lot
Okay.
of ways. But really today, it's project management teams. It's
Okay.
the groups that go off into their agile labs, or working in their huddles, or whatever verbiage you use. But so much today is done by project teams.
Right.
Let's go off and do that. Those are the places that it's actually a lot of fun now to say, okay, guys, this is your job, and it's going to be a lot of fun and it's exciting. Well, let's be sure we're a high performing team so that we can do this more quickly and more effectively through the teamwork.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But we're kind of coming to the end, so let's close with mentioning where people can get more information about you guys.
Great. Thirdlevel.com, spelled out THIRD, thirdlevel.com. We're very active on LinkedIn as Third Level, as well as Stephen Garber, all one word with a PH there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen, thanks for taking the time of your
Thank
day to be
you.
on the show, and sure we'll keep in touch and talk soon.
I hope so. Thank
All right.
you very
Thank you.
much. Really
Okay.
enjoyed it.
Bye.
Great questions.